Hello friends, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Welcome to my channel. I have missed you. I have missed you so much. I took a break. I needed it. I took a break and I want to thank those who reached out to me over the year to ask me if I was okay. Yes, I was okay. But I gave myself something which I rarely used to give myself, and that was rest. I needed the rest. I took it. I needed time to learn some lessons, which I did. I also used the resting time to unlearn. There were many things which I needed to unlearn. You know that saying where they say that the survival skills that you picked up during the time of crisis should not be carried on. I had carried some of the survival skills in my life, and I needed time to just like unlearn them. And I can't say that I have fully grown in that, but I have had enough time. I have had enough time to rest and to refresh and to reset myself. So I'm hoping that this year I will continue to share with you some of the things that I have been learning, some of the things that I have been unlearning, and even some of the things that I learned before but I had not shared with you. So please stick with me. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. My take home for you today, as the year is beginning, is give yourself rest. Take time, take a break if you need it, and rest. You know, resting and taking a break is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. No wonder God, in many places in the Bible, emphasizes the need for us to rest. There are many places He Himself rested, and time and again He tells us to rest because I think He knows how important it is for us to rest. Because resting is always associated with like dormancy and inactivity, we think it is a waste of time. But let me tell you, friends, we are not robots. I have learned from my own life. You can get exhausted. You can work your way out. And I mean, you can work yourself out if you don't give yourself time to rest. We are always evolving. We are human beings. We need time, like any other living thing, to rest, to reset, to refresh, to reorganize our brains, and to learn. Resting is a very beautiful thing. And actually, if you rest well and you also give yourself quality resting, because you see, there are two things that I learned. The length of waiting, really of resting, depends on how tired the person resting is. Some people rest for a short time. Sometimes you'll find you need a very short time to rest. But there are times when you're so exhausted, you really need a longer time to rest. But it also matters the quality of rest that you give yourself. Sometimes we say we are resting, but we are busy. You lie down to sleep, your head is busy. You go on a vacation, your mind is resting. So you're resting, but not resting. And so when you give yourself time to rest this year, when you take breaks, please make sure that you are keen to give yourself quality rest so that you can benefit from it. In the Bible, there are people who rested and they benefited from it. Jacob is one of them. When you read his story in the book of Genesis chapter 28, there's that common story. That was after he had stolen his brother's blessing and his mother and father are sending him away to his uncle. And the Bible talks of the place. He comes to this place which he later named Bethel. And he was tired, but it was also getting dark. So two things caught up with him: time and also, of course, his physical energy. So he puts down his stone. Like ordinarily, he just arranged the stone to rest and to sleep. That's what the Bible says. His intention was just simply to sleep and wait for the morning to come. But when he gave himself time to rest, God gave him more than that. He used his resting time, that very moment when restless Jacob had rested. God caught up with him and he gave him a vision which he lived with all his life. And some of us are like Jacob. Jacob was no saint. He was not a saint. But God, God met him in his moment of rest. So we can also be made and refreshed and given visions when we take time off to rest. And when we don't rest, when we don't give ourselves times to rest, we put our lives at risk and also the lives of our loved ones at risk. When your mind is unsettled, when you're physically exhausted, you are a risk to yourself and a risk to the people around you. You remember the story of David in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 21? There is that common story. The Philistines had attacked again. The Philistines always attack, like they will always be a war to fight, my dear friend. And this David man, who was a pro in fighting the Philistines, joined his men at war. But something happened. The Bible says, I think in verse 15, that David grew weary, he fainted. That's how my Bible says. He got tired, and the son of the giant, one of the enemies, was going to use that opportune time to kill him. But thankfully, Abishai, one of David's men, was alert and he killed his enemy before the enemy killed him. And they told David, and they said, David, you're done with war. This is the end of the war, because we cannot risk to have you, to lose you. And so it's the same thing with us when we don't rest, when we need to rest, when we don't rest from the wars that are always occurring around us, when we don't give our bodies and our minds time to rest, we are, we create a weakness in the war, in the battlefront of our lives. We are a threat to ourselves and even to a risk to the people we care about. No matter the intentions, no matter the motive of being at war, never be at war when you are exhausted. So this year, give yourself rest when you need it. Evaluate your need for rest, because there will be times when you need it. And when time comes, give yourself as much time and as much rest as you need, and you will have a fruitful and a joyful and how do I say it, a life well lived, but also a fulfilled life that does not have regrets. And so I look forward to spending more time with you and to spending this year sharing and learning with you and from you. May God bless you.